I think the biggest thing that keeps us awake at night is uncertainty.
Okay.
It's not a heavy workload, it's uncertainty.
And that's where my brain was really looking at, like, a big power piece of having this end of day meeting is that you get a chance to also take a look and go, well, what was this day? Like, what did we get done today?
Welcome back, everyone, to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. If it's your first time here, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Matt Bonelli, and I am joined by my amazing partner and co-host, Garrett Frey. And if you're just learning about Life at 10 Tenths, and this is the first time that you're here, you're in for a really awesome treat because our podcast rocks, and I'm biased on that for sure. But if you do want to learn more about what's going on in the world, just go to lifeat10tenths.com. And for those of you returning, welcome back. We love you guys. Let's talk about Living at the Pinnacle of Your Ability and Purpose by Garrett, starting with the end of the day. This is going to be a fun one.
Starting with the end of the day. And I'm excited to go through this because, man, we just did a session inside the 11 Circle. Every Wednesday, we get our group together and we kick around ideas. And sometimes they're group coaching sessions. Sometimes they're learning sessions. And Matt and I teach something that we are like, we've got to bring this together. We need to be having people run at the level that we know they can be running at. And we created a foundational piece, which was the end of the day. It's the alignment loop that basically keeps everybody running at the highest purpose they can, the highest level of focus. And as we were getting ready for the episode today, I was like, we should share some of the highlights that kind of came out of that, what we've seen, some of the great questions that came up, and like how people are kind of approaching this. And yeah, Matt, let's have some fun with this today, because I think that a lot of people start their days thinking that this is my moment to get control of my day, and you're already behind. You're already behind.
Yeah. People commend and praise morning routines and things, and I love morning routines, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But if you haven't closed out the prior day, if you haven't shut down those tabs in your brain, like, good luck getting the day started. Okay, you might have a morning routine that, in terms of the actions that you do, you exercise, you eat the same breakfast, you get the kids off to school, you have a morning routine. But is your work, is your professional output benefiting from that routine? Or are you then getting into your work going, oh my gosh, chaos. Where did I leave off yesterday? What do I need to pick up on? And how do I get going? And that's where, and it's a common problem among real estate agents because of the nature of the business, Garrett. So I don't want people to think like this is a error, like you're messing something up. This is outrageously common because of the nature of this business.
Well, it drags along. All these pieces drag along, and we don't have most people don't have a necessary shutdown time in the business. Like, I use the punch card as an example. Like, there's a time card that a lot of businesses have, a lot of employees have, where when it's done, it's done. You get to punch out, you go home, put your feet up. You know, if the boss were to call you and be like, hey, where's that report? Dude, I'm not on the clock right now. Like, back off. I'll be in at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll get it figured out then. Like,
I'd like to see that go.
I think you can pull it off. But there is a side here where obviously, we don't have that shutdown time. We don't have that, hey, I'm not on the clock right now. We'll talk about this tomorrow. This business, if you don't have this shutdown, regroup time to kind of bring everything together, these things will eat at you all night long. All the stuff that you have on your plate, all of a sudden, when you're supposed to be sitting there, Matt, having an amazing dinner with your family, you are not there present with them. You are thinking about all the emails that maybe didn't get sent, all the people you didn't follow up with, all the things you got to do tomorrow that you're not quite sure if you're set up to be able to do that correctly. Did I call the photographer? I'm not sure if that actually went through. Did I send the email? All these things. And then that drags into you putting your head on the pillow. And believe me, we used to always ask, like, what's keeping you awake at night? Because you all know if you're listening out there, that moment that you're putting your head on the pillow and you're every bit of you goes, I should just look at my phone one last time because I'm not sure if, like, what's going on with such and check my email. Right before going to bed, like right before this most important part of your entire day, which is rejuvenating and resting and getting yourself prepared for the next day coming up, is now contaminated by things that we could have just given a little bit of time to, wrap things up a little bit, and allowed you to say, you know what? I put my hands on everything. I saw everything. I got a plan. I'm going to sleep. Nothing more I can do right now. That's what you should be thinking about.
I totally agree. And you add in what we just talked about on the last episode, the what if, because it's not even just the communications of the day and the interacting in our business. It's the, what can I do to grow my business? Like, how do I improve my marketing? How do I do this? All these things. I mean, I will be honest here. There are times, they're very, very short thoughts where I'm just like, you know what? I'll see the UPS and the FedEx driver come by and I'm like, man, once that truck is empty, they're done. You know, they load up the truck in the morning, they empty the truck out, and like there's no other weight, there's no other mental weight. There's not like, oh my gosh, how do I fill the truck up again tomorrow? I just show up and the truck is full. Let's rock and roll. So that is the benefit of having that start and end, but we don't have that.
I've only had a couple of jobs like that in my lifetime, and I was young. I mean, I was a lifeguard. Nobody's calling you at the end of the day going, hey, well, unless they find somebody in the pool. You will get that phone call. I was a chef, in a restaurant and, did that for a while. Nobody's calling me after work's done. No, there's no checking in or nothing. You're off. You get to go and hang out with your friends. You get to live your life, do your stuff. There is a nice side of that, of being able to work and be done. But that's also not who's attracted into the world that we're attracted into, Matt. Like, no. There's that element of like, I know every single job I was ever in, I would walk around going, if I was running this, I would change this, this, and that. If I was doing this, I would change this and this and that. I would never sat there in my job going like, I can't wait because I'm done and I don't have to worry about any of this crap because this is not my circus. I am literally one of the monkeys and I just need to show up and do my thing. It's not who's here. So because we're not those types of people and because we might envy that person that has that job that can do it, at the end of the day, that's not what's going to make us happy, which means we need to have some systems to allow ourselves to have some pattern breaks, to be able to shut down, to be able to shift from one channel to the next and be able to be fully present in the next thing that's important to us in our lives. Yeah. Otherwise, you just never fully get to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why I wanted to highlight that is when you have that job that is that punch out, like you have that ceremonial, this is done and it's easy to switch. You don't need to design your own end of day shutdown necessarily. I mean, maybe there's a few things that you want to just deploy for your own personal world, but when it comes to operating a high productive, high functioning, sustainable real estate business, or if you're just an entrepreneur running any business, designing your own end of day shutdown, which could have multiple steps. Like there's many different ways to do this. There is so much benefit that comes from this. And we even talked about Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, in our session the other day. And Cal Newport has a really neat journal as well. Mm-hmm. His time block planner, where it has a little checkbox for end of day shutdown complete. Because he talks about if you can just mentally have this, hey, I have gone through the things that I need to do and I am checking this box saying this is done. It sends a signal to your brain that says, cool, we can move on to something different. Like, I don't need to worry about this anymore right now. And I'm not saying this is going to get rid of everything, but it's going to help get rid of a lot of things. Because Garrett, when I engage in a routine like this, which mine is evolving, particularly as our business has evolved, I feel so much calmer when I'm like, oh, let me close out these tabs. I mean, that was one thing we talked about is your brain has all these tabs open. Like for anybody listening, go onto your computer. How many Chrome tabs or Safari tabs or whatever browser you use do you have open? Like
we had somebody that's like, they're like, well, I have 2 open Chrome tabs with like 27 open on each one.
Yeah. Someone said, 50. It was like 50 tabs. And she sent like a screenshot of it in the chat. And I was just like, yeah, I totally, when the tabs get small enough where you can't even read words, it's just the icon. Like that's your brain.
Yeah.
That is your brain at the end of the day. And like, you want to take that to bed. You want to take your 50 tabs to bed. We need to figure out a way to get rid of that. So Garrett, where do we start?
Well, you jumping into where do we start? I want to bring one more idea into this also, because we need to, a lot of you already have pattern breaks. Like you already have certain, but they're not really intentional. They're not on purpose. We kind of do them because it's a ritual we might have. Some of you, your drive from the office to home is a pattern break that you just don't even realize. That's like kind of like your end of day shutdown. You know, when you're driving this road, it's kind of like, oh, I'm almost home. For some of you, it is the moment you walk in the door and you're like, okay, my pattern is I walk in the door, I grab a beer, I go sit on the back porch for a second, and this is my like ritual that I'm done with the day, and now I'm just back home now. People have these rituals already set in. They're just not done on purpose, and they're not done with intention. And then going back to these windows, Matt, as you said, is you don't realize that you still have all these open programs running. And my dad taught me this many, many, many years ago. And we did a podcast on this a long time ago, Matt, about like a television set. Mm-hmm. And you know, back in the day, you used to be able to you had to get up off the couch, walk to the TV, click the thing to the next channel. You really only had about 12 to pick from. And you kind of would roll through and see what's there, but you could only be on one channel at a time. And so he always said, you know, there's certain times in your day you want to be on the business channel. And then there's the time when you turn the channel over to the family channel. You know, this is where we get to have this entirely different place, but there's the act of actually shutting down one channel and turning on another channel. In our world today, we don't have that quite as easy. We have this ability of having all these open windows. You at any moment in time can pull your phone out, and I can easily open up an app, and I can check my health. I can go this. I can go look at my Whoop information. I can go now check my email over here. For us, I can jump into the community, and I can look and see what's going on over there. And then all of a sudden, I'm playing a game at the same time. And it's just like, oh my gosh, you wonder why we're stressed out. You wonder why our attention is taken all over the place. And so what was your question, Matt?
Where do we begin? Which I think, you kind of went into it there. I love the TV, because I do remember my dial TV and clicking, into the different, which I don't understand why just channel 12 didn't exist. Like there was on the dial, but there was never anything on channel 12 for us.
I was always excited about the UHF side of it that went up to like 99 channels, but I was never really sure because there was really nothing ever on it.
There was nothing there. I was like, what is this?
The AM of the FM world when it came to the radio, where you're like, why does anybody even listen to AM? Like, sorry.
Now we're getting into some,
we're in the weeds.
I could go down a path here.
We're in the weeds.
So more open tabs. We'll just take that tab and put it over here. But you're right. A lot of times we try to automate these things now today. Like, hey, how do I automate? And I will say, as we go into this, don't necessarily automate your way out of shutting down your day. Use automations, use all the tools available to help you shut down your day. And the first thing that we got to do is, Garrett, take all of these tasks that are out there, right? And I'll share a story. I had this conversation with Simon Sarver, who we just had on the podcast.
Yep.
And when we were talking about his assistant, and we were going through, how do we just get a better handle on what she's working on so that when he does his morning sync, he's better prepared and knowing what she's doing. And I said, well, does she perform any end of day kind of task or ritual to let you know that she's done or has addressed things? And he says, no. It's like, well, what if we just have her at 4:00? Every day at 4:00, she needs to go through her text messages and her emails that she gets from you and make sure she has all of your requests in a list. And however she wants to keep the list, who cares, right? But she needs to have all that stuff. And then she puts together an email and says, here's all the stuff that you've asked me to do. Here's what's done and here's what's not done. And she just sends it to you. He's like, oh, that would be great. And since they've been implementing that, he's like, it's great. I can hop on the morning sync now. I know exactly what we need to talk about because I know what's done and what's not done. And I'm not like worried about, waiting to see, hey, did she do this or did she do that? Because I know exactly what she's done and hasn't done. And so that wasn't necessarily his end of day shutdown, but designing an end of day shutdown for his employee probably is bringing a lot of like calm into her world too, of like, oh, great. Now I know I've reported to Simon what's going on here, and move on. And so this collection of all the things that we are doing, because we leave this stuff in our head, Garrett, right? We are famous for being like, I got it. I got my list. I know what to do. It's all right here. And I won't forget it. That's the problem. You won't forget it. It's going to be there forever.
Well, and that's, one of the things of how our brain works is it actually holds on to incompleted projects. It holds on to the things that we still need to work on. We still need to give time and attention to. And the only time you actually can let go of it is when it is complete. And think of all the projects you work on. Think of your garage. I think about my garage. Hopefully everybody's garage is kind of like mine. Like there are times you have projects in there that aren't done. And there's that moment. I know for me when like I have card tables that I use in my garage when I'm working on a project. I set the card table up, all that project goes on there. And there's a symbolic thing about being able to fold the legs up on the card table and put the card table away. And it's like, that project is completed. It is done. That's the symbolic piece for me that says shutdown is complete on that. Now I can move on to something else. And that project doesn't get opened back up until I need the card table back out again. And we put the legs back out and we put a new project on it. I think, that way of shutting down, that way of communicating with people, like here's where that project lies. Here's where we're leaving it like right now. In the garage, I use pieces of cardboard. And what I do is I just paste the piece of cardboard on whatever the project is, and I write down all the steps that need to happen. And then we just I cross them out. And this is the way that I know as I'm coming and going from that project, because it might take me a week to get back to it. It's like, okay, here's where I left off on it. What you're talking about here with your assistant, and how you said it was Simon and how he's using that with his assistant. Yep. Oh, that's right. We were talking about that. And that is this place that, I mean, right now I would be using AI. If I had an assistant that I needed to communicate with like that, I would be opening up AI and I would basically download, here's where I'm at the end of the day. And I would want them to do the exact same thing with me. Here's all the projects I worked on today. Here's all the things I got completed. And AI will take it. Don't ask it to be creative. Just say, I need you to consolidate what I'm about to share with you and put it into a nice checklist that's easy to read that I can give to my boss or give to my assistant. And it will make you a nice little thing you can drop into an email and send over. And the nice thing is that we're now communicating. I get a chance to go to sleep knowing exactly that they took care of what I needed them to take care of. They can now walk away too going, okay, we're all on the same page. We're good. These things have to happen at the end of the day. I know that's a big one for me, Matt, I'm not sharing that list necessarily with everybody, but I do download at the end of the day into AI to basically say, hey, this is what I got done. This is where I'm at. And it helps me just kind of like shut that piece down and close that up. It's really powerful.
I mean, if you do nothing else, just doing that will help you move on to the rest of the evening and get ready for the next day. If you don't even do anything else, I mean, there's other things we recommend that you do for your shutdown, but if you just do that one thing, then you're going to feel so much better. So if you're overwhelmed and being like, where do I start? Right there, whether it's dumping it into AI, which now ChatGPT has agent mode, so you can actually have it email you or update a spreadsheet or do other things. I'm still learning that whole thing myself. So
it's on my list for this weekend to learn.
We'll come back to you on that one. But there's so many things that you can do to just get that out there, even if you just the cardboard. I mean, going analog is great for this because then you can go update your digital spaces because if you're analog, and that's the kind of nice thing about a ChatGPT window because it's just blank. But if you go analog, you don't have the distractions of going into your email and being like, oh, and I need to respond to that email. Let me do that right now. No, get the whole list out first before you go and action anything. Because I will say, as you look at then rescheduling things, because that would be the next thing you want to do is make sure your calendar is all set for the next day. As you look at that stuff, it's okay to still do a little bit of extra work after your shutdown. That's my opinion, right? If there's other things that you want to close the loop on, like get your shutdown process done, then go, now you know the exact tasks that need to be accomplished to then truly end the day, and you just go do those things without bringing anything new into your world. That's okay, but don't let the act of doing things disrupt your whole process of getting things organized, because when you look at that calendar for the next day, you're going to see, I do this all the time. I'll be like, oh, I'll just push this to tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and, oh, I actually don't have time to do this today. I shouldn't have pushed this to today. I should have pushed this to Friday or whatever. If you actually open your calendar and look, you'll be able to restructure if you need to, or move it further out and then set expectations with people.
But the other side of that, Matt, is that yes, you could go, oh, I could push this out. I could push this out, push it the next day. As you were saying, though, like, sometimes you'll have your end of day shutdown, and later on in that evening, you're like, you know what? I've got some time here. I've got some time available to me right now. I'm not necessarily with my family. I can't spend it with my kids. I'm not doing any other projects right now. I could sit here and watch a TV show, which, I'm really just wasting time. This isn't benefiting me at all. Or when I was reviewing my schedule for tomorrow and the next day at the end of my day here, I saw these activities. You know what? I'm just going to go sit down and write some handwritten notes and just get those out so I don't have to worry about it tomorrow or the next day. You know, I've been wanting to make some progress on my real estate reviews and my market impact reports. Let's get those things going, because I have time on the schedule tomorrow to do it, but I keep pushing it off. Let's work on them right now and see if we can get it done. Knowing the schedule, knowing exactly what these things are, allows you now to work with it, other than it just being a whole bunch of stuff that we know we need to do and we know we should have on the calendar. We keep not kind of getting it done. This is what I love about reviewing the next days coming up. And I find that is a part that a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs fail to do, is they're just living in this moment right now with all these tasks and all these things, but they're never looking down the road. Years back, I started looking at about 2 weeks in advance. That was just always where I was. When I was working in one day, I was always about 2 weeks in advance, knowing what was coming up, knowing what was happening. And a lot of it was just self-preservation. I just didn't want to get caught off guard. It was also when my kids had a lot of stuff going on. So when we had tournaments and all types of dance recitals, and I'm like, I have to know that far in advance. And again, it's still something that a lot of people just don't do, Matt.
Yeah, it is. You're 100% right. And I think it's because of this mentality that we are 24/7, right? Yeah. Hey, we're 24/7. We're there. And we also see high performers out there who they seem like they're 24/7, and you know what? They may be, and maybe that works for them. You don't know all the details. But if you get into this mind, well, I'm just always working, so I can just always have the opportunity to do stuff. That's not organization. That's just running yourself ragged. And so one component of this I would add in for people is analyze your energy on what does keep you up at night. What can you do after your shutdown that is not going to bother you, even if you don't complete something? Like if you're going to learn something, like I like doing extra learning at night, or I just totally zone out on YouTube. Like those are like the two things that I do. I'm either looking at cars or I'm learning AI. Like those are the only two things I pretty much do, but they're educational for me. One of them, the other one's entertainment. But if I don't complete it, like I'm good, because it's not dependent on something for the next day. Right. And so don't move your urgent stuff later at night. So if you find yourself and maybe right now you're in a mode where you're doing a lot of phone calls and emails and all that stuff at night, I would look to see, hey, how can I shift that to another part of my day? So those things I can close out at the end of the day. And this is the beauty of doing the follow-up, because if you have all your tasks written out and you do it, even if you do it kind of mid-afternoon, 3:30 or something like that, it still gives you enough time to complete tasks for the day, but be aware of how much stuff is open, and then allows you to say, you know what, I have a meeting with Garrett tomorrow. It's not an urgent meeting. I did say that I would do some things. Let me see if I can just push that meeting out one day. Just say, hey, Garrett, here's where we're at on this thing. I know we are scheduled to meet tomorrow. Can we just push it to Friday? Or maybe it's, hey, I got this meeting with Garrett tomorrow. Let me just confirm that real quick. Hey, Garrett, we're meeting tomorrow, just confirming that this is the time, this is the place, and this is what we're going to be talking about. Now you're not worried about what are we going to do at that meeting. Having these loops that are open, just get closed and follow up with other people or with yourself is super important. And so when you analyze the things, the energy of like, what task do I like doing or whatnot, and you combine that with looking through this list and then looking at your calendar, it's going to go to right what you were saying, Garrett, is you're going to be aware, which is, I think, the biggest thing that keeps us awake at night is uncertainty.
Okay.
It's not a heavy workload, it's uncertainty.
And that's where my brain was really looking at, like, a big power piece of having this end of day meeting is that you get a chance to also take a look and go, well, what was this day? Like, what did we get done today? Matt, we have days where, if I take like a typical Monday, our Mondays are a little bit different. I am coaching usually in the morning. It's usually about a half day for me. You coach like all day long on Monday. You are like morning to when you're done, back to back to back coaching calls. But it's interesting, at the end of the day, typically about noon on that day, I go into editing videos. We have our co-working session in the morning with the group and the community. So if I was to wrap that day up, like, my wrap up's going to look different than yours, and I can be, okay, so what did this day mean? Was it all working with clients in the moment? Because that's handling the business that we've created and the people that we're working with and we're helping. But there's other things, which is like when we talk about editing videos and start scheduling those out through YouTube, through Instagram, through Facebook, this is stuff that's growth mode type of activities. This is the stuff that is awareness marketing for other people to acknowledge and understand what we're up to. There are days that we just coach. There are days that when you get done with it, you're like, nothing I did today is propelling me to the future that I want to be. Everything today was handling what I've already created. There's other days where it's like, okay, we did a lot of business stuff. I did nothing of my outside interests, hobbies, or anything like that. Maybe today I sacrificed, or maybe I've been noticing as I've been going through my days right now, I've had too many days in a row focusing in certain areas. And I can now be in the driver's seat on this, Matt. I can now sit back and say, looking at my schedule tomorrow, I need to get some business building activities in, because I can't just sit here and work with my current listings and my current buyers and just do that day over day over day. Because at some point, I'm going to find myself out of business. At some point, I'm going to find myself talking to my coach going, did the market change a little bit? Because it's really slow right now. Like, I don't know, is everybody seeing this? Like, that's a reality that you've all experienced. And a lot of times it's because we got stuck in days of not having the stuff that's building business. You get this chance with an end of the day wrap up, this close the loops on everything, to reanalyze this, figure out where we stand, what we're doing, how is this all working before it turns into a issue. I used to always lean back, Matt, when I used to train this, is that this was the purpose of your Monday meeting. And it is, but you can be more aware by just having a quick wrap up to the end of your day.
Yeah. And that the point there is this doesn't take long. Like, once you get into the rhythm of this is maybe a 15-minute exercise of wrapping up the day, because that Monday planning session is important. But the beauty of this too is you get these things in motion, Garrett. Like, you're not doing a heavy lift. The first time you do it, it feels heavy, but then it just becomes part of how you move, right? And it's just, oh, cool. Most of it becomes a review. At the end of the day, a lot of it will be, here's all the things that I've done. Yeah, there's a few things that are left open, but here's kind of what's coming up tomorrow. That's going to fill in here. Great. Awesome. Good to go. Stamp this. I'm out. One element that you brought in there too was kind of knowing what you've done. So logging the things. And this is where we do typically get a lot of people who will come into a coaching call. And they're like, gosh, I feel like I'm behind, like I'm busy, but I'm not sure what's going on. It's like, well, what's happened? And they're like, well, I've just been in my business. I'm like, okay, well, give me some numbers. Have you been communicating with your people? What does that all look like? I don't know. Oh, we haven't been logging anything down. And the end of the day is this perfect time to just take 2 minutes. It doesn't take long to log your interactions and the things that you've done. It really doesn't. You just need the framework set aside for you to do it. Because if you do mark that down, then when you get to your weekly planning session, you can then review. You don't need to be a chief analyst at your end of day. It's very objective. Just mark the stuff down, adjust the calendar that needs to be done. This isn't a time to go, maybe I need to make a grand change in my business plan here because this didn't go according to plan today. It's like, no, let's not do that now. You can then go plan that out at another time, use your weekly planning meeting for that, use quarterly business planning for that. But this is just a time to be objective because tomorrow might be different. Tomorrow might be like, it was great. I don't need to adjust anything. And then you're flip-flopping back and forth. We want clarity. We don't want uncertainty and cloudiness. Objectiveness of writing down all the stuff, closing the loops, logging your stuff gives you that sense of clarity of, you know, what's going on, even if it's a lot, right?
And man, I want to emphasize, as you said, like this doesn't take long to do. This is a quick thing. And I want to bring this in because I talk a lot about like, using AI, but talking into AI. And I think you got to find your own way that you have your end-of-day shutdown. A big reason that I actually like using AI in that fashion is I'm crazy auditory. I have taken tests where they're like, it breaks down, like if you answer a certain amount of questions here, you're visual, certain amount here, you're kinesthetic, certain amount here, you're auditory. I usually almost break the chart. There's no, it's so heavily weighted to one side. So part of my end-of-day shutdown of actually talking out loud and saying it to AI, it allows me to hear myself go through all those things, which sounds kind of crazy. I'm kind of like listening to myself download it all. And that's the way I process. It's like I can do it there, or I can go stand in Sarah's office and like go brah, which sometimes I will do also, and drop everything that's on my mind because I need to hear myself say it. It's how I come up with solutions and I can have closure on things. So find your way. And that's the most, Matt and I are talking about all this and you're kind of going like, well, what is the end? Like, what is the exact thing? It's finding your way of closing the loops, talking with your people that are important, closing, getting all them on the same page, finding a way to kind of shut down your brain for the day, and then having some symbolic moment that you're just like, I'm out. Like, I am out, I'm done, I'm shutting this down, I've got closure to everything. And, as I said on our call yesterday, Matt, for me, it's like I got some certain lights in my office that hit the switches on 3 of these lights, and that's pretty much when I can turn around and look at my office, and it's just like, this thing's been shut down. Yeah. I head out the door, and I usually don't come back in. Usually. Yeah.
Well, I'll give you a very simple way to think about this. If we have a more detailed kind of way of working through this and fitting this into a lot of the things we're building in at Life at 10 Tenths and kind of training people on. But if you look at it this way, collect, then categorize and calendar and close.
Yep.
Right? Just the C's. Collect the stuff, categorize it, calendar it, and then close it. Right? Now you're done. Move on with your day. Have that symbolic. Cal Newport talks about this as having that physical thing that you do. You turn off your lights, Garrett. Maybe it's for you closing your laptop. Maybe it's putting your phone in do not disturb mode. Choose something that is the symbolic thing that gets you to go, okay, I am done. Close that day out and then move on with your evening to enjoy it, whatever that might be, and be ready to go. You'll be mentally refreshed for the next day. However else you handle your personal habits, that's a whole nother thing. But there's some things there that might help.
I just had a flashback to my dad's closeout of his office when he was done for the day. And I learned this later on because if you walked into my dad's office at any given time, it was meticulous. Like it had the brass scissors sitting on the table. It had a big brass F for Fry up on the top of his desk, the phone, the printer. But other than that, there was like a yellow pad of paper. And this might be it that's on the desk, maybe with a pen. Everything was clean. His end of the day procedure was he had a box under his desk and he would just take everything and scoop it up and drop it in the box and push it underneath. And at that point in time, this day is closed. Like,
I love that. That's a
This
good
is
one.
out.
I might implement that plan.
But it was part of that was built in because he was told that successful people have clean desks, and he wanted anybody who walked by his office at any given time to walk in and look at a very clean work environment. That's what he wanted to show and see. But there was a box of disaster under his desk, which I thought was brilliant.
The clean desk, it worked. I'd say that worked. That correlation would ring true with his with the impact that he's made. So,
well, Matt, I want to say thanks for going down this route of kicking this around with me. This was so much fun to talk about, in the group, and how we, what we're able to pull out of that and what we were able to see, and the questions we got from people about what they were struggling with and where this maybe they get derailed on an everyday basis. And I know it's a real thing. I know a lot of people don't do it. That was the feedback I was watching from the group of people going like, what an amazing idea to prepare for the next day and to shut down your brain so you can be fully present. And so if anybody wants to learn more about what we've got going on over at Life at 1010s, please come and check us out. You can go download the app. You can go to lifeat1010s.com, see what we're all about there. We have the group coaching that we were just talking about where we do these success labs, but we also do every Wednesday, we do a group coaching call. If you want to learn more about that and check that out, we have a free trial. You can jump right in and check it out for 7 days, see what it's all about. Join us on one of our group calls. We'd love to have you there. Appreciate your energy and your space and you in our space. And Matt, with that being said, man, thank you to everybody out there. Super fun as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, have a great one. We'll see you later.